Hey guys, this is Brian with Worldwide Bushcraft again. Just 3 days ago I was at this very same spot doing the same video. A gentleman on YouTube named Kirkland Davis had asked me to make a video over the Apache foot trap. So I came out here and found a nice little trail that goes through here, lots of deer sign, and shot the video, started going through all of the editing, and I could not believe it. You could hear me, but you just couldn't understand a single word I was saying. The wind was blowing very, very, very hard, so I made sure I had a windscreen in front of the mic. Didn't really do a whole lot of good. Matter of fact, I didn't want to have to redig a hole and remake this, so I actually used the same footage. It's just that I end up dubbing over the audio on the that part of the footage. So, but this introduction, I thought I'd come back out here and just reshoot it. And like I said, Kirkland Davis asked me if I would make this video. It's actually a fairly complex trap in the fact that it's a lot of labor you have to put into it. Now the dynamics behind this is actually quite simple. Knowing that you're going to have a bipedal or quadruped, you know, you're going to be walking, you're not going to be crawling, you're going to have a lot of high center of balance. So if you have a hole, you step in it, you're going to get probably injured. But the Apache deadfall takes it one step further. What it does is it uses spikes, and it uses spikes that will travel at a downward angle, and there will be set of 6 to 8 of them that will go all the way around, and it will leave an opening right in the middle. And so what this does, this allows a hooved animal like a deer or even an elk to walk along the path. Usually you want to set something like a down log or just some kind of debris that the animal will have to step over, because you want to have to step over and step into the hidden trap. But what happens, the animal's leg goes in, and they have such a narrow hoof, but they have a little bit larger fetlock that's kind of like their ankle. Their arm or their leg will actually slide right through that opening and go up about mid-cannon in their front legs or hind legs. It really doesn't really matter too much. But when they try to come back out, you have all these spikes that are coming across that are going to be jabbing into that fetlock. Unless you come exactly straight out, which is probably not going to happen because you're going to have that forward momentum. In theory, the legs will get stuck on these spikes and cause pain. Now, they don't necessarily have to be really thick and really heavy spikes that you put in here. What really keeps the animal from escaping is the fact that it's pain, and when there's pain, they quit struggling. Now, I've only used this trap one time in the past, and it failed miserably. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's a lot of work, and for something that may and may not work. And when I sit there and think about how the dynamics of a quadruped walks, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to use this trap unless you already have a lot of other traps for small game already set in, because I think that trying to catch a deer in this way, you might get it to stumble, but you're not going to probably catch it. What really happens that with quadrupeds, you have horses even though they have a high center of gravity, they are still very solid and very secure in their motion, where they're not going to have a lot of instability going one way or the other. So if a foot stumbles, they don't go down very much. They might stumble just a little bit, but you won't see a front leg or a hind leg go down very far. They catch themselves. It's very easy for them to catch themselves because they have 3 other stabilizing legs. And that's one of the downfalls about this foot trap, is the fact that by the time that leg goes just a half inch or so, they bend that knee and that fetlock, and it's done. You don't have. It's hard to catch it because it's not going to go down deep enough. And to really make it the trap really work well, you really need 2 layers of spikes. You need one spike that's a little bit lower or deeper for that'll catch lower in the leg, and you need another set that'll catch higher as well, so you'll just have a little bit more spikes just to catch more flesh. But that in theory, that's how this is supposed to work. I have not yet to get one to work, but like I said, I've only tried it one time, and that was quite a while ago. And I've never really understood why they called it an Apache foot trap anyway, because the Apaches really didn't hunt this way anyway. I mean, you did have some Chiricahuas near the Tonto Basin. They had, I guess, ample places to set these traps for mule deer and elk, but the way the Apaches really hunted were, if they hunted in a group, they would hunt in a fan. They would fan out, and they would scare game a certain direction, and they can kind of steer it just by moving people forward and back. And they would kind of direct the game into a specific area where hunters would be there to dispatch it as it came through. And even like the Lapon, who really took the white-tailed deer, they really, that's a really kind of a sacred animal to the Lapon Apache. But they actually hunted the same way. The Mescalero, they really hunted more buffalo than anything, but they still had pronghorn, and they still had deer to hunt as well, but they primarily didn't just set traps for them. And the Apache society was a little bit different anyway. They were kind of a strict society in the fact that if you were a lone hunter and you were doing well, it was your obligation to give up half of your kill to poorer people in the tribes, and which is really pretty neat. Just the fact that you're gonna make sure that everyone in the tribe is going to sustain a high level of health, or a highest level of health as possible. But they also had little quirky things that are kind of odd, like just Chiricahua especially. Women had virtually no rights. Matter of fact, a woman, if they made eye contact with a man, especially a man they weren't married to, they could be beaten. They could be been beaten so severely that they could be killed. I mean, they took that very, very seriously. That's a different topic, kind of going off away from where I was intending. But what I was getting at, the Apache really didn't. I'm not really sure if the Apache ever used this. I'm not sure if this is just a trap that someone thought of years and years ago, that they just thought they'd put the Apache name to it, or it very well could be a design from the Apache. I know quite a bit about the Plains Indians, and the Plains tribes I know more about than a lot of the mountainous tribes. But when it comes down to it, I've never seen any Native American art or any folklore that would ever talk about this. And so I'm not really sure if this is actually a native type trap. Regardless, I'm going to go ahead and show you this trap, and I'll have a little narration behind it. And I don't know, maybe you can try and have a little bit better luck than I did, but I don't know. We'll just wait and see. I think it's a little tough trap, but I had been requested to make this, and that just gives me another excuse to make another video. Anyway, fellas, hope you enjoyed this. Keep watching. We'll see you in a bit. Alright, this is what I have for the Apache foot trap so far. We have the hole dug, and it's only about a foot deep, and you can see that it's about a 7-foot inch diameter. These are the 7 stakes that I'm going to use to help trap the hoof and the leg of a deer. And pretty much I have 7 of them. We possibly could use 8. It really depends. And this is only going to be for one tier. Typically you would make this 2 tiers. You would do 1 layer of spike sticking out with a hole in the center, and then you would do it again about 3 or 4 inches above that. You would make another set as well, and that would just ensure that you will have plenty of spikes poking into the leg of the deer just to keep it immobile. Alright, what I want to do is start using these stakes. But as you can see, that every single one of these will have a slight curve to them, and this is a natural curve. And what I want to do is use that curve where it's going to be facing down, because when the hoof comes up and the leg comes up, you want to make sure that it jabs into something. And it's just basically it's just as simple as that. So here's just trying to make sure you use all the effort you can to get that point past center. I actually probably used a little bit longer stick than I really needed right here. As you can see, it takes quite a bit of effort. Finally, I get that thing pushed in enough. Yeah, it was amazing how much effort it really took to push those spikes in like that. And this is going to be the seventh one right here. And I really should have made an eighth to keep into this empty space that you can see. That's around 5 o'clock. But, you know, this is going to be for a demonstration. I hope everybody kind of gets the gist. I really should have used an eighth, though, an eighth stick. But you can see just putting the hand down here that if I go down far enough, it'd get, and I had a hoof, I'd actually get it caught on that hock, on that fetlock right there. For that, you would use two different layers, uh, one below, one above, about 4 inches high, and you could actually put a noose around here and just snare the leg in case the leg gets out. But in actuality, most often when that leg comes up, if it's able to get out, it's going to just come right past that, or when the leg goes in, it messes up the noose anyway. So unless you build a contraption that keeps the noose in place, it really, I don't like using a noose much. I really don't like using this trap much at all anyway. But, you know, there you go. So what we do is we start getting all the local vegetation that we have lying around this trap, and we just begin pulling it up and laying it across the trap. So right here I'll start laying horizontally, and then I'll start laying some sprigs going vertically as well. The primary key to this, though, is to keep the hole in the trap covered, but you don't want to use so much vegetation that when a deer steps into it, it it'll hinder the deer's leg where it won't go in so deep, and then when it does go in so deep, it doesn't give it such a protective barrier like a cushion where the spikes won't jab into it and ruin the whole effect of having those spikes in there. So basically what you want to do is just use just enough just to cover it. If you decide to use a noose, make sure you put the noose underneath this layer. And that's about it. So I hope that you really enjoyed watching this video. I hope you learned a little bit about the Apache foot trap. And maybe one of these days you'll be able to use it and utilize it better than I have. I haven't had any luck with it myself, but that doesn't really mean that you won't. Hope you get out there and try it, and we'll catch you on the next time. Y'all have a good day.